Don't touch me, I work here, Simone Carter shouted, covering her face with her arms as two uniformed officers grabbed her shoulders. The afternoon buzz outside the Manhattan Civil Court froze. Officer Delgado's fist came down first. A sharp, brutal strike across her cheek. Gasps cut through the air. "Get your hands off me." Simone cried, stumbling backward, clutching her briefcase. "I am going inside. I have a hearing." "Not today," the taller officer growled, shoving her against the cold stone wall. Her briefcase hit the sidewalk. Papers scattered like white birds across the steps. People watched. Nobody helped. A third officer stepped forward, hand on baton. "You people never learn, do you?" Simone lifted her head slowly. Blood streaked her lip. Her voice shook, but her gaze did not. "You're making the biggest mistake of your career." Officer Delgado smirked. "No, you made yours." He swung again, just as the glass doors behind him swung open from inside. A court clerk screamed when she recognized Simone. "Judge Carter?" Everything stopped. The officers froze. The crowd stared. Simone's breathing was ragged, her hair disheveled, her suit torn at the shoulder, but her eyes were blazing. She lifted her chin. "Get your hands off me," she whispered. Inside that courthouse was her courtroom, her bench, her authority, her name engraved on a brass plate, and it was waiting. Hello, everyone. Before we begin today's video, we want to thank you for your support, love, and kindness. We wouldn't have come this far without you. Subscribing is one of the best ways you can help us. It's quick, free, and allows us to continue to bring you great content. Your support means everything. Let's keep this channel growing collectively. Where are you watching from? Drop your city and country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let's get back to the story. The crowd outside didn't move. Simone held her cheek, still throbbing from the blow, but she stood her ground. Officer Delgado stepped in again, voice low with arrogance. "You don't look like any judge I've seen." Simone wiped her blood with the back of her hand. "And you don't look like any professional officer I've seen." Gasps crackled around them. Delgado grinned. "You think talking smart is going to save you? Not today." Without warning, he reached for her wrist. Simone instinctively pulled away. His grip tightened. Her sleeve ripped. Officer Whitaker, shorter, broad-shouldered, eyes hard, joined in. "Maybe you didn't hear him, lady. We said move." "I work here." "Sure you do," Whitaker snorted. "And I'm the mayor." He shoved her forward. Simone stumbled on the courthouse steps. Her knees hit concrete. Pain shot through her legs. People watched in horror. Some turned away. A man whispered, "She's a new judge. She started last month." Then why aren't they stopping? Because they don't care. Because cruelty never asks for permission. It just walks in. Whitaker reached for zip cuffs. "Let's make this easy." Simone lifted her head. "I am Judge Simone Carter," she said clearly. "Presiding judge of courtroom 7B. You will remove your hands from me immediately." Delgado laughed. A cruel, barking laugh. "You? A judge? Look at you." He spat on the ground beside her. "You people always lie." That was the moment. Something in Simone cracked. Not fear. Fire. She stood. Slowly. Deliberately. Her height matched his. Her presence dwarfed them. "Move," she ordered. "Or what?" Delgado leaned in. "You'll charge me? Resist arrest? Good luck. You're not getting through the door." Simone looked past him. Through the glass, she saw the courtroom beyond. The bench. Her bench. Everything inside that building was hers. "Move," she repeated. Whitaker stepped in front of the door. Nobody goes in without ID. Simone's voice was ice. "My ID is hanging inside on my robe." Delgado smirked. "Convenient." She pointed at the brass plate visible through the window. The engraved name. "Han, Simone Carter, presiding judge, courtroom 7B. Whitaker squinted. Then, "No way that's you." Delgado cracked his knuckles. "We'll check later, after processing." He grabbed her arm, and that was when the courthouse doors burst open. 3 court officers rushed down the stairs, faces white with shock. "Judge Carter, are you all right?" Delgado released her arm instantly, like he touched fire. Whitaker stepped back, stumbling. "Wait, Judge. This woman is a judge." A hush fell. Simone straightened her suit, ignoring the pain. "I told you," she said softly. "You didn't listen." The clerk pressed her hands to her mouth. "Judge, do you need medical?" "No," Simone said. "I need to get to 7B. I have defendants waiting." The officers exchanged looks. Whitaker swallowed. "But you can't." Simone cut him off. "You are obstructing the judicial process. Step aside." No yelling, no anger, just authority, cold and sharp as steel. The uniformed officers parted. Simone walked past them. Every step she took up those stairs was a declaration. "I belong here." Inside, whispers followed her like wind. "That's the judge." They beat her. Oh my God. Her robes were waiting in chambers. She didn't pause. She didn't tremble. She slipped them on. Black fabric. Soft, heavy, eternal. Her name stitched inside. Judge Simone Carter. When she walked into courtroom 7B, everyone rose. Nobody noticed the red bruise on her cheek yet. Nobody saw the torn sleeve, but they would. She took her seat behind the bench. The bailiff called out, "All rise." Simone lifted the gavel. Her heart hammered once, and she spoke. "Good afternoon. Court is now in session." The gavel struck wood, a sound that echoed through every hallway, a sound that would carry back outside to the men who hit her, a sound of destiny. Outside, Delgado stared at the courthouse door. "She's actually a judge," she muttered. Whitaker's face went pale. "What do we do?" A court officer approached. "You too. Inside. Now." "What?" "Judge Carter wants to see you. Immediately." Delgado stopped breathing. Whitaker whispered, "We're screwed." One of the bystanders called after them. "You hit a judge." Delgado didn't respond. There were no words. He followed the court officer inside. Whitaker behind him. Their arrogance disappeared at the threshold. Inside, the courthouse swallowed them whole. They walked down the long hall, each step heavier than the last. Every portrait of a past judge stared down, as if silently judging them. They were instructed to stand before the bench. Before her, Judge Simone Carter sat elevated above them, regal, unbowed, a faint bruise visible across her cheekbone. Her eyes were calm, cold, controlled. She spoke softly. "State your names." Delgado cleared his throat. "Officer Rafael Delgado, NYPD." "Officer Mark Whitaker, NYPD." Her gaze didn't blink. She raised the papers from her docket. "I see a case here involving excessive force, public assault, and obstruction." Whitaker's stomach twisted. Delgado's voice cracked. "Judge Carter, we didn't know." Simone leaned forward. "You didn't need to know who I was," she said. "You needed to know who you were." Silence. Pin drop stillness. "This court will recess for 10 minutes, she said. "And then we will begin." She struck the gavel. The sound echoed like thunder. The bailiff approached them. "Sit down." Delgado swallowed. Whitaker sat, trembling. They stared at the floor. What happened outside wasn't gone. It was only beginning. Word spread through the courthouse corridors. Not through phones, not through cameras, but through people, through whispers, through outrage. The gallery filled with staff, attorneys, civilians. Some had seen everything. Some had heard. All waited. A janitor shook her head. "They hit a judge," she whispered. A law clerk crossed her arms. "They're finished." The doors reopened. "Bailiff, all rise." The officers rose. The gallery rose. Simone entered. Her robe billowed behind her. She sat. "Be seated." Everyone obeyed. Simone rested her hands on the bench. The courtroom went silent. She spoke. "Before this court begins any docketed case, I must address something personal." She looked at Delgado and Whitaker. They could not meet her gaze. Simone continued. "This morning, outside this building, I was physically assaulted by 2 police officers." A ripple moved through the gallery. Some gasped. Some whispered. Delgado's jaw clenched. Whitaker's shoulders shook. Simone's voice remained steady. Not because I was a judge. You didn't know that. She paused. And that is exactly why this matters. She stood. Her robe caught the light. When you struck me, you did not see a judge. You did not see a citizen. You did not see a woman trying to enter her workplace. She leaned in. Her voice was low. You only saw my skin. Delgado looked up, shame twisting his expression. Whitaker wiped his eyes. Simone wasn't finished. You hit a judge today. That is true. Her eyes hardened. But worse, you hit a human being. And that was only the beginning. Because Simone Carter had not sat on that bench to forgive. She sat there to teach the world what justice looks like. And justice was coming. Gavel lifted. Courtroom silent. She struck it down. Let the record show, she said. We are far from finished. Name applied. Simone Carter, age 45. The courtroom was already full when the door opened. The wooden benches creaked. Bailiffs straightened their backs. Lawyers shuffled papers. Prosecutors whispered. The same two officers who had shoved Simone to the pavement earlier stood by the wall, checking their own reflections in their badges like trophies. They didn't notice the room go quiet. They didn't notice everyone stand. They didn't notice the whisper that rippled across the room like a tremor. She's the judge. Only when the bailiff's voice cut the air did they hear it. All rise for the Honorable Judge Simone Carter. The world stopped. Officer Hale's breath caught. Officer Markson went pale. And then she walked in, calm, unshaken, dignified. Not a trace of the morning's violence on her face. Only the truth in her eyes. A storm held in perfect control. She stepped up to the bench, placed her hand on the polished wood, and sat. The room sat with her. Simone's gaze lifted. It landed on them. The officers who beat her. They had laughed. They had shoved her. They had told her she didn't belong. And now they could not move. Call the first case, Simone said. Her voice was steady, clean as glass, and dangerous as a razor. The clerk swallowed. State of New York versus Officers Hale and Markson. Charges of assault, excessive force, and misconduct. A gasp spread through the room. Hale's jaw dropped. Markson pulled at his collar. No, this is wrong. Hale blurted. Simone raised a single finger. He froze. Officer Hale, she said, you will speak only when spoken to. Do you understand? He nodded, sweating. Markson wiped his forehead. Simone leaned forward slightly. Her eyes were sharp, cold, alive. This morning, she said, you put your hands on a woman who did nothing wrong. A tremor passed through Hale's throat. Simone continued. You shoved her. You beat her. You called her names. She paused. And then, that woman was me. Every bench in the courtroom trembled with whispers. Officer Hale stepped forward. It wasn't. We didn't know who you were. Simone's stare cut him in half. You beat a woman, she said softly. You didn't ask for a name. Markson tried to speak. We thought she was a threat. Simone tilted her head. A 45-year-old woman carrying legal documents with a threat? Silence. Sweat. The sound of humiliation in human form. Simone looked to the gallery. Did anyone here feel threatened by me this morning? Lawyers shook their heads. The bailiff shook his head. Even the janitor whispered, No, ma'am. Simone let the weight of that settle, until the officers felt it on their shoulders like chains. The doors opened again. A man entered, broad shoulders, silver tie, calm footsteps. District Attorney Victor Lang. Every prosecutor in the city knew him. He approached the bench, nodded to Simone. Your Honor, she returned the nod. Mr. Lang, she said, I trust you reviewed the charges. Yes, Lang replied, and the evidence is overwhelming. Officer Hale panicked. There weren't any witnesses. Lang turned. There were dozens. Hale blinked. They were all watching through windows. Markson stuttered, but nobody helped. Lang's eyes hardened. That's because they were afraid of you. The officers shrank. Simone's voice entered softly. But I wasn't. Simone rose from the bench. Everything slowed. She approached them. Her black robe flowed like shadow and wind. "You abuse your power," she said. "You mocked a woman you knew nothing about. You assumed she had no voice. She stopped only inches away. And now you're in my courtroom." Hale swallowed. Markson stared at the floor. Simone returned to her seat. Her tone never raised. It didn't need to. Authority spoke for her. "I have seen men and women like you my entire career," she said. "Loud when you think no one is watching. Silent when justice arrives." She turned a page. "Officer Hale, Officer Markson, you are hereby suspended, pending full investigation. Your badges are confiscated. Your weapons are surrendered, and you will stand trial for assault." Hale whispered, "No, no, please." Simone lifted her gaze. "You should have said, 'please,' this morning." The bailiff stepped forward. "Badges." Hale pulled his off with shaking hands. Markson struggled. The room watched. Whispers grew louder. Simone didn't smile. She didn't gloat. She didn't celebrate. She simply allowed justice to happen. When both badges sat on the clerk's desk, Simone spoke. "This court will reconvene in 7 days for sentencing." Hale looked like a ghost. Markson's lips trembled. They turned to leave, but Simone's voice followed them. "One more thing." They froze. She looked directly into their eyes. "You thought I was nobody. You thought I didn't matter. You thought you could hurt me and it would disappear." Her voice softened, but the softness was iron. It never disappears. It always returns. When the courtroom emptied, Simone stepped outside. The sunlight had shifted. It hit the courthouse steps in gold. The very place where she had been shoved was now quiet. She stood there for a moment. A woman approached. Hair gray, skin lined from time, eyes full of pride. She whispered, "I saw everything. You made us proud today." Simone smiled gently. "Justice isn't loud," she said. "It's patient." The woman nodded. Simone walked down the steps. A man held the door open for her. Then a young woman in a suit whispered, "I want to be like you someday." Simone's voice was warm. "You can," she said. "Just don't forget how it feels to be on the ground. Justice starts there." The young woman swallowed hard. "Yes, ma'am." Simone walked away, each step steady, each breath full, her dignity intact. Some days later, the newspapers would write careful, measured words about a courtroom decision. They would never know what really happened on the pavement, before the bench, before the verdict. But everyone who was there that morning would remember the moment the woman they shoved sat down as judge, and justice did not shout. It simply arrived. Cruelty is a choice, and so is dignity. Power used to humiliate will always circle back to the one who wields it. Those who judge others by appearance will one day be judged by their actions. Treat every person as though they matter, because they do.